Hi everybody, welcome to the road trip. Today we've got a very unique car to look at, a 1954 Mercury Sun Valley. And we have the car's owner, Tom, with us. Tom, thanks for showing us your car.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad to have you.
How many years have you had this car, Tom?
Well, we actually got it in '83, but it was the third one. The first two were really beyond restoration, or at least an economical restoration, one that made sense. And this was a California car, was produced in Los Angeles, and it was virtually rust-free.
Really?
So it was a frame-off restoration, and was finished in '85. And its first show we took it to was the New Hope show, and it got a first in its class at New Hope. And then,
was it complete when you bought it, or did you have to find parts for it?
we did. Mercury's are not like Chevys to restore. It's long and arduous finding parts. A lot of the trim was there, and most of it had to be repolished, but I was able to find at that time in the mid '80s, I was able to find new old stock chrome pieces that I was able to replace the older ones, and the bumpers and all were re-chromed. The stainless was taken off and polished. It was virtually the body was off the frame, and the whole car was disassembled. And
so it was done right. It was done complete.
We changed the color. That was the biggest thing.
What color was it when you bought it?
When we bought it, it was white. And the Sun Valley initially, when it came out, came in two color combinations. This one, which is Park Lane green and Bloomfield green metallic, and the other one was Yosemite yellow and Bloomfield green metallic.
So the Bloomfield green, is that the darker color?
That's the darker one, the top one.
Okay, and what was the bottom color called again?
It kind of blends in with the top.
And the bottom color was called what?
It was called Park Lane green.
Park Lane green, okay.
And somewhere mid-year, they offered it in all different colors. This one happened to be a white car, but since we had to repaint it, we figured it didn't really capture the essence of what the Sun Valley was, what people remembered. So we did it in a common color, even though the white would have been much rarer.
Let's explain what the Sun Valley is, though. The Sun Valley is basically what, Tom? Is it this roof?
It's half the roof is a plexiglass top. It's shaded green, and Ford and Mercury came out with one about the same time, and they billed it as the first production sunroof car. I think it was in Motor Trend issue of '54. They said they did testing in the Arizona desert. And they got up 3 degrees hotter than a normal car, but the reality of the case is that wasn't true. And initially it sold, I think the production was 9761 on the 54.
Okay.
And then it dropped down drastically at 55 because people felt it was too hot. And they offered a sunshade that's it stuffs in, that zips in. It's supposed to try to shelter you from the heat.
Yeah, it just pulls out and zips all the way around?
It zips all the way around. And it's tight. It makes it kind of look like a regular headliner.
Okay. But it's tight enough so that it doesn't sag?
Right, but that also wasn't real effective. And, like all good ideas, it faded into obscurity. So this was only a 2-year model for Mercury.
Now, the Sun Valley, that's the Mercury version. The Ford version would have been?
A Skyliner.
The Skyliner, okay. And it was the same, pretty much the same top?
Actually, the tops were interchangeable.
Oh, they were? Okay.
Even though it doesn't look like a 55 and 56, they're still the same top.
Okay.
I actually have an extra top, just in case.
Well, I noticed this top is absolutely perfect. Did you have to find or source a new top for this?
No, this top was in the car when I got it. And
you got lucky.
It was really craze-free. Most of them craze, and they get all craze marks on them.
Yeah.
This one was really excellent.
Well, being a California car and out of Los Angeles, was it?
Well, that's where it was manufactured, in the Los Angeles plant. If you look at the VIN,
could you open the door for us?
It begins with 54 LA, which denotes the plant manufacturer.
Right here?
They did it in Metuchen, they did it in Wayne.
And this car was produced in Los Angeles at the LA plant?
Correct.
Very nice. And this is an early 54, I guess, correct?
You know, I couldn't testify to that. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. It's very nice in here. A lot of shiny stuff in here. I mean, you got chrome trim in the back there, in the C-pillar. A lot of chrome around the
Yeah,
windshield.
they still had the rope rails, rope things in the back for hanging your robe, you know.
Okay.
The throwback from the early days.
Yeah.
You had to wear the robes in the car because there was no heat.
Look at that back seat, how it goes all the way to the floor.
Yeah.
Wraps around and goes right to the floor. And I guess you redid the interior, right?
Now the interior was with the car. It came when I got the car. Somebody obviously had redone it.
Oh, okay. So you didn't have, it was a frame off without.
I didn't have to do the interior.
Well, it looks very nice.
The rugs were redone, and the headliner was in there too. So
Well, that's good. Saves you some trouble.
We got lucky. The interior was as I acquired it.
Can I slide in here real quick?
Sure.
We'll look at the dash. Like the switches here. What's the scoop on these switches?
They call it the Interceptor dash, which was for Interceptor fighter. It's still that World War II influence with the fighter planes.
And these are basically for what? Ventilation?
Yeah, ventilation. You got vents, and you got your temperature
over here.
And there's a vent on each side. I think one is your temperature and one's your lower, maybe.
Okay. And you have full gauges in here.
And I got one addition on there, which we had the road lamps, and I think this one might be. Yeah, I think that's the road lamps.
The road lamps. Tom's gonna check for us. They on?
Yeah, you can.
They're the road lamps.
You could take a.
Right,
that was an option. The road lamps.
That was an option.
And the steering wheel you look at, that's called the accessory wheel. That is an option too. The standard wheel was 2 spokes.
Okay.
And these wheels were hard to come by today, really. But
nice, clean, crisp emblem in here. Very nice. This was, I guess, NOS when you got it.
It was recast. It was a recast wheel.
Very nice. I like the dash. It's definitely unusual with those toggle switches. And the way the numbers fan out from left to right is pretty neat. The font, they're like angled on one end and then fan over.
They used basically the same body style from 52 through 54.
Did they?
And Fords, the doors will interchange. The doors on a Ford are the same as the doors on a Mercury.
I like the trim over here, this vented trim.
That's kind of neat.
Slotted trim.
Matches up.
Yeah, it matches right up in here.
Right.
The door panel looks great. I like the design. Definitely 50s. Kind of a spaceship-like. And over here you've got an AM radio.
Yep.
And a clock.
Clock works. The radio works.
Up here is the radio speaker.
Yes, it is. Yep.
And then you've got the ashtray. And then the glove box.
Yep.
And there goes that trim, how it meets the dash. And Mercury emblem there, I guess, right?
Yeah, the God of Speed.
God of Speed. And the Sun Valley is part of the Monterey line?
I would guess. They never call it a Monterey Sun Valley. They always refer to it just as a Sun Valley, but it obviously, they kept the Monterey script on it, so.
Yeah.
I guess it's a subsection, subline of Monterey.
Yeah. And there goes that liner that zips out. I guess you really, really need that. The sun beating down on you really has to get hot. Neat looking mirror with the design there on the bottom.
Yeah, that was a mirror I found. They didn't come with a day-night mirror.
Is that a day-night mirror?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's an addition.
That was optional.
Let me step out of here real quick. And we'll look at some of the trim on the outside. That chrome there on the door kind of mimics the chrome here on the quarter panel.
Yeah, it does.
Kind of ties.
That was probably the design feature they were going for, to tie it together. And the tail lights too. See, the tail lights have the 3 ribs.
Oh, they do. Monterey, look at that. These taillights remind me of the Lincoln from this era. I guess it's the Cosmopolitan.
Yeah, they're
The
basically the same
Capri.
car. I mean, really.
Yeah. You got the reverse lights
The
down
Lincoln,
bottom.
the Lincoln was a little bit larger,
Yeah, they do look slightly bigger.
and it had a bigger engine. It had a 331, I think.
Mercury, look at that. The bumper guard's optional.
No, they can't. That pretty. I've never seen one without them. So
Really?
yeah,
They did nice work on the chrome. Can we look at the trunk compartment?
sure. I can find a key. I had it somewhere.
Mercomatic.
Yeah, that's what they called their Ford-O-Matic.
Yeah.
Mercury-Matic and Ford-O-Matic are basically the same.
Yeah, just relabel.
It's a 3-speed transmission, but when you start the car out, you start it out and drive. It starts in second.
That's the Mercury God, I guess.
Yeah, God, it's
Out of speed.
his influences all over.
Nice big trunk compartment, deep and long
And high.
and high.
Yeah.
You got the cardboard liner. Is that cardboard or?
Yeah, it's cardboard. I'll tell you a funny thing with that. I had a previous one, a black one, that had a beat up liner.
Yeah.
And a fellow out in California, he wanted to reproduce the liners.
Okay.
So I sent him my old beat up liner as a pattern, and he sent me one for free.
There you go. That's how you get it done.
Yeah.
And you have the original brochure.
Yeah, this is dedicated to the Sun Valley, this brochure. So
Okay. Now that's the optional color on the cover there?
that was the other color. Like I said, they came in 2 colors, this one and this one. I think there's a better picture. I think there's a whole spreadsheet in here for that. Oh, maybe that's the one. That's the wrong one. No.
Very nice.
Had the yellow one.
Well, I like this picture here of the roof, looking down on the roof.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And that's the color combination of the one you got.
That one there, yeah.
Very nice. It's nice to have this paperwork with your car, especially when it's picturing one of the same color, which is neat. Looks just like it. And I see you have a what is that? A model?
Oh yeah, it was a little model
Matchbox?
I found. MR2. They came out with a Sun Valley. It's kind of neat.
In your color.
Yeah.
Good thing to have. Fun thing to have.
Yep.
You'll never take it out of the box.
No.
Or out of the container.
Yep.
Nice. Yes, very nice, clean, deep trunk compartment. You can fit a lot of luggage in there. Great driving movie
back
car.
then a family of 6 could go on vacation in a car.
Yeah.
You could fit 3 in the front comfortably, 3 in the back.
And a family of 6 at the drive-in movie theater.
And you could put a lot of luggage in these cars. There's actually more room in the back of these than in a lot of modern SUVs.
Well, it's a very nice design. And it's got a very unusual line on the windshield, on the rear window here. The way it's kind of narrowed at the C-pillar, kind of wraps around.
It's unfortunate what happened. I mean, Mercury was a good mid-market car.
Yeah. And
Ford let it go. Just became in later years a badge engineered Ford.
Yeah. What am I looking at here? Is that a speaker or is that
That's a rear speaker.
That's a rear speaker?
Yep. You can see underneath the.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. How about that? Very nice.
And it got the jacking instructions here.
Yeah. You gotta have that.
Yep. And the jack stowed down here.
Now this car has been shown within the AACA?
It has, yes.
How have you done with the AACA? I guess you've done
very well. It's got it first junior, got a senior.
I like this.
And it got a Grand National first.
The Mercury emblem there, and this design is black and gold.
There are little design cues.
Fingernail guard, I guess?
Yeah, that works.
Does it?
I look at some cars, man, you don't realize rings and fingernails, what they do.
Yeah. What's the story on the side view mirror here?
Well, believe it or not, they were the most difficult things for me to acquire.
Really?
And they were specific to a 54 Mercury. And it was, when I originally got the car, I just put some aftermarket round ones on it because that's all I could find.
Yeah.
And there was one Mercury parts dealer. His name, if I recall, was Frank Mafucci. He was from New York. He'd get in his van every year and go on a parts hunting trip. And he would drive through the Southwest where,
Just acquiring parts for odd cars?
the parts were in good shape. So what he would do, he would get these mirrors off the cars. He'd break the glass out, get the mirror re-chromed, and get a piece of glass cut to fit it and sell the mirrors. And it wasn't until this car was done like 12 years before I was able to get the right mirrors. So,
Hey,
I was happy to get them.
You get your parts where you can get them.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was happy to get them.
Sun Valley again, and another emblem. This thing is really labeled up good. A lot of these emblems, these round emblems, which are in great condition.
Yeah, well, this is one of the things. The emblems are reproducing these days.
Are they?
When I did this car, they didn't reproduce them. You really had to find new old stock.
So you've upgraded some things over the years?
Yeah, I have.
I like the grill, and I see your AACA emblems.
Yeah.
Senior car and a Grand National winner as well.
And the grill basically is what they refer to that as a bumper grill.
Really?
Because it's a bumper and a grill. Show you the
lights.
They're called
there they go.
They're called driving lights.
Driving lights, very nice. And they were optional, you said?
They were an option, right?
Very nice.
6-volt option.
They set it off nice. And they look like they're very bright.
Yeah, what was funny, I had one, it's part of the bumper guard here.
Yeah.
But you have to replace the whole bumper guard. It's not just that. So I had one new old stock one, and I had a new old stock set of the lights, but I still needed the other bumper guard.
Yeah.
So I was down at Atlantic City swap meet auction when it was in the old convention hall one day. And a guy had a bunch of junk laying on the floor. And I went over, he had one of these, just in with all kinds of junk. And he said,
Take it.
I asked him how much he wanted for that. He said $10. And I was trying not to act excited.
Yeah, how many cartwheels did you do?
I was trying not to act excited. I said, well, I'm not sure if it will fit my car or not. He said, give me $5. So I said, well, all right. And trying because I paid $125 for the one.
Yeah.
And when
you get your deals,
that was one of the deals I got.
You get them where you can get them.
There's very few deals you find when restoring a car, but that was one of them.
Mercury, another emblem there. And this is this a faux grill? Does this work?
Yeah, it's like a faux grill for
Doesn't actually vent into the engine bay?
No, it doesn't. But
can we look at the engine?
You can. Yeah. You always have to be careful opening these hoods because their hinges are
a little wobbly.
Yeah, they are. I can't see.
There we go. Yep.
And I bent one once, so now.
Do they bend easily, the hinges?
Yeah, they do bend easily.
What are we looking at, Tom?
This is a 256 cubic inch Mercury engine. It's what they call a Y block. Okay.
Okay.
The interesting thing with this engine is the Y block was made up through 62 and maybe later.
Okay.
It started out at 239 cubic inches for Ford, and this was 256. And it was 272 and 292 and 312. The 292s they use as a Ford base engine up through early 60s, and the 312 was a Mercury base engine.
Okay.
I'm not sure when they stopped using it. I have a buddy with a 60 Mercury. He has a 312 in that. But the 256, 54 was a one-year engine. 55 through 62, a lot of parts are interchangeable, but not for 54.
How does it run for you?
It runs great now. I mean, it was all rebuilt, but I had a heck of a problem because it was a one-year engine. When the rebuilder rebuilt it, he had to use a 57 camshaft.
Okay.
And it had a different distributor drive.
Oh,
So what he did, he used the 57 distributor, and I wasn't getting any vacuum advance. So for 2 years, we were changing power valves, we were doing this and that. And,
did he tell you it was the wrong cam?
well, he told me he had to use a 57 cam, and I didn't see any problem with
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But the crux of the problem was using the 57 distributor,
Yeah.
because I had a buddy who was he was a SCCA weekend racer, and he knew a lot about carburetors and
Yeah.
all that. So I was telling him my problem, and he stopped over. He said, "Let's take a look at your car." So he asked me, "You got a manual on what this?" You know, I told him what happened, that they used the 57 distributor and all this. He says, "You got the old distributor?" I said, "Yeah, I got the old distributor in here." What the basic problem was, the 57 took much more uh, mercury, needed much more vacuum
Yeah.
to advance it. So the I would say the vacuum canister on the 57 was like this big,
Yeah.
when the 55 was like this big.
Yeah.
So what he did, he took that distributor out, used my old distributor, changed the drive, and I had vacuum advance.
There you
Just
go.
something crazy, something stupid.
Well, it gives other mechanics an idea how to fix problems, or even give them a direction on what their problem might be.
And
Far as
I always kid
cams
people. I
and
say
stuff.
it takes 2 years or more to get a car straightened out after
Yeah.
restore it. And most restorers aren't mechanics.
Now,
So
is this restored to the correct colors? I mean, you've
yeah,
got
that
it's
is a
almost like a
correct.
two-tone green engine.
That is a correct color.
Dark green,
I
and
had
then
people tell me that your valve colors of the car,
yeah,
the color. It's not. It's not the color.
it's a shade.
Slightly different.
It's a shade different. Yeah,
And
it looks
that
slightly
paint was reproduced by Al Hirsch up in North Jersey.
different. It
So,
looks pretty close, but it's
but
a shade different.
but even better, they were NOS valve covers. So that's how I know they're right.
And they have Mercury written on them in
Yeah,
red. I guess red, that would be the
yeah.
correct color.
I found a set of NOS valve covers for that.
Well,
It just happens that they're almost, to the untrained eye, they're a little shade different from the
yeah.
paint.
Well, you're not going to be parked next to another original 54 Sun Valley. That's for sure. Well, I love your car, Tom.
Well, thank you.
I love the quality of its restoration. You did a great job on it. Frame off. It's an AACA Grand National car, so you know it's right. But folks, tell us what you think. 1954 Mercury Sun Valley. Leave your comments below. Definitely subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.